Listen here, girl. I know you think it's a game, but it is absolutely not. Okay, this is the energy supplement from Just Move Supplements. That's right. It's damn near all gone, girl, and that's because I had to get that energy up so I can complete the workout, so I can give y'all this body, this transformation, get into it. Okay, and I'm done working out now, so that's why we're moving on to the protein shakes. Oh yes, it's already in there, girl. It's already made right here. This is the mixture of the banana pudding, the chocolate cake, and the buttercream cupcake. And you really want to be fancy, you can go ahead and add that blueberry muffin if that's what you want to do, girl. But for me, it's these three right here. Okay, you put that with some almond milk, you mix it all up in honey. Okay, your muscles have gained life, new energy, agility. Get into it, okay? Just Move Supplements. Thank you very much. Hold up, Chief. Okay, don't forget about that TLC NutriBurst to get that multivitamin power, because we all need a little extra. And child, if you want that sea moss that go down smooth, don't come up rough, okay? Get into the TLC Nautica sea moss. Yes, get that from me. And child, if your stomach hurt and you need to move some things around so you can be free, okay, go ahead and get that ISO tea down below in the description box. Get it all from me. Come on in, come on in, come on in, not come on in, not come. Sorry, y'all know I'm weird, whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. So let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video, right?
Hey there, girl. I don't know. Am I glitching? Oh my God, I'm glitching. Y'all, can y'all see me? Hold up. Let me do that right quick. Girl. Shout out to Erica and Rodney. Okay. Because child, if I ain't gonna do nothing now in exasperation, I'm gonna say girl. Okay. Let's see if we can try it again. Hold up. I'm still, am I glitching to y'all? Y'all see it? It's glitching. I don't know why it's glitching. This weather, girl. Okay, hold up. I think we fixed it, girl. I think we fixed it. Okay. Hi, everybody. What's going on? It's your girl, BondyBlue. I'm so happy to be back for another live review, recap, entertainment, news. Child, y'all know what I do up here. If you don't know, you about to find out. So just stick around. Okay? Now listen. Y'all know I do members only lives. Okay? Earlier this week, I've already done. Oh, yeah. In case y'all missed it, thank you, everybody, for all of the birthday cash apps, the birthday well wishes. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to you. I said this already in my members only. We had a members only. Y'all know I love when white men scream for me. So yes, we had members only live on Tuesday where we discussed Love and Marriage Huntsville and the Never Ever Mets. If you are interested in becoming a member of my channel where you won't miss a live, girl, the Patreon link is down below in the description box. You can also go to the homepage here on YouTube and click the join button and become a member here on YouTube. Or you can go to my website, BondyBlueShow.com. Okay, you have 2 tiers on there that you will sign up for. You either going to do Royal, which gives you access to new and all of my old content that's on my website, and also the Baby Blue, which allows you all of the new information. My birthday was great. It's still my birthday as far as I'm concerned, girl. It's still my birthday as far as I'm concerned, girl. Thank you so much, Anita White, for becoming a member. Thank you. So before we get into the lengthy Rolling Stone article, and y'all know I love to bring y'all a good Rolling Stone article, girl. As you might recall, I've read y'all the Rolling Stone article about Jonathan Majors. Okay, we got into that one time. Everybody wasn't listening. Everybody was ignoring. Everybody was acting like, oh, girl, we tripping. But no, ho. No. Hold up. We were right about the Jonathan Majors, okay? I know y'all want to act like, oh, the white girl was running behind them. That means nothing in abusive relationships. That means nothing. People love running behind people that are hitting them. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing. I've seen it so many times, okay? He hit me. Oh, my God, don't leave, you know. So, yeah, We talked about it. Rolling Stone is always on their shit. Rolling Stone will go and interview everybody that you went to middle school with so that they can find out the truth about you. Okay. So that's why I love when Rolling Stone decides they want to do a deep dive into somebody. But before we get into the article, as we give everybody a chance to come into the room, we're going to talk about a few things. First of all, let's start here. Charlamagne the God. What are you talking about?
I didn't think I was going to ever see a video like this.
I heard abuse whispers. So
Really?
I was thinking, yeah.
I heard gay. I'd never heard porn.
I always heard gay.
Gay nonstop. And that was enough. People were like,
That's because of Wendy Williams.
What'd you say?
Oh, that was Wendy. Wendy whole thing was Diddy was gay since the 90s.
She knew, dog.
No, Wendy was
We
throwing
owe
that
Wendy
out
an
there.
apology.
That's why Wendy got fired from Hot 97. Wendy got fired from Hot 97 by Diddy because that's when Bad Boy was smoking hot.
Wow.
And yeah, she got fired for putting that out there. Like,
do you think that Diddy held on to the gay rumors so that people didn't know what he really was?
Yeah.
ooh.
Because that's the perfect smokescreen. You'd rather people think you're gay than beat women.
And by the way, here's the wild thing. We still don't know.
Actually, no. I would have to disagree with my Caucasus colleague here and say that is not true. That is not true at all. Honestly, and this might just be a New Orleans thing, but it is much better to beat on women than be gay where I'm from. It's actually more accepted because whenever you beat on a woman, somebody's going to try to find a reason to blame the woman for why she's being beat. That's what always happens. So I don't know where they got that from, that being gay is better in society. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's exactly, especially in the 90s. Shut up. That's not true.
What Diddy is.
I mean, we
That's
know
the thing.
little.
We know little. We know bits and pieces.
Yeah.
This shit might be deeper than rap. We don't know. Like this
The
might be a
rabbit hole,
whole
yeah.
rabbit hole. You might be like, oh shit.
What I'll
seeing this.
I'm sorry. Once we saw him punt the girl like a football, add that to the 30 years of history we're about to get into in this Rolling Stone article. This has been deeper. What do you mean this might be deeper? It's been deeper. It's been deeper. How many times I gotta tell y'all? You gotta pay attention. Let me tell y'all what the elite do. Okay, the elite, meaning whoever's in charge, wealthy people, and the people that they allow to think they're a part of the elite for the moment so that they can use them in whatever respect. They want you to think that the occult, witchcraft, all of those things, like, and I'm saying witchcraft because I feel like the shit that y'all, you drink of the blood and wine of a dead person, proverbially, or it's not literal. You're drinking your grape juice and eating your little wafers, whatever. That is a spiritual practice. All of it is spiritual. It's all been spiritual. What Diddy does, what the elite do, it's all spiritual. What they convince you of is that none of that's real. People, I'm telling y'all, listen to me. They convince y'all that the ways that they gain power are not real. They tell y'all that anything outside of Christianity is bad, and y'all are not even looking at the similarities between other people's spiritual practices that you condemn and Christianity. And the only reason I bring that up is because we are all mostly Christian. Most of us here in America, especially Black people, are Christians. So I need y'all to understand that the elite are not Christians. The elite are not Christians, but they know how to use religion to control the masses. That's what they do. So they convince you that all of the voodoo, hoodoo, Larry, it's all fake, but it's being used on you. And you don't even know that it's being used on you. But the way that you stay ignorant of it is thinking that it's not real and it's something way over there instead of something that is literally being used on you in music and media, the things you see, repetitive things like the energy that's being given out. I'm telling y'all, it's all deep. It's always been deep. And when you think it's surface level, you're only shitting yourself. I'm just telling you. Diddy has a goddess and a baby on his back. If you don't think he did that shit purposefully with intent to protect himself by using the goddess while then going out and wreaking havoc on women and children, child.
seeing this video.
That's what I was trying to get at this whole time.
Okay, so-
that is the wildest story
Yeah.
that came out of a lot of this shit, and nobody gives a
Yeah,
fuck.
let's
Wait,
talk about it.
What's the
Pull it up, Mark. I don't even want to repeat it.
Oh.
Pull it up. This shit sounds so crazy.
Nah, this shit wild.
Type in his name and Diddy.
But this is why I believe all
Reginald
the
Van
Cassie
Johnson.
allegations because of this video. Because
What video?
she describes this
Yeah,
what happened
word
to
for
the
word.
T.
Oh,
so
yeah,
now
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
believe everything she said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1000%.
I'm not. Yeah.
This is horrifying.
Also Diddy's bullshit. While you're getting that, Diddy's bullshit as excuse, like how he couldn't mention Cassie's name in the apology. There's no rule you can't apologize.
Whatever. Oh, I'm not laughing at that.
No, I
I'm
know
laughing
you're
at
not.
this shit here. I'm laughing
Yeah.
at this shit. That Marcus.
Yeah. Also, you called her a liar like 3 days ago.
Yeah,
Like,
like
yeah.
get the fuck out.
Said she was looking after for a quick buck. You're a fucking scumbag.
And
And,
then-
maybe it's more triggering for me because whatever. But like that shit, I was
Why
like,
is it
yo,
triggering for you? What
I
happened?
grew up in a house. And I didn't see that ever, but I grew up in a house where there was abuse. So it was like you watch that, and this is way more extreme than anything I saw. Like she's trying to sneak out of the fucking room. He's dragging her by the hair.
Yeah.
Not gonna condemn my struggle. I didn't see anything like that. But watching that is like, yo, fuck this guy forever.
Did you ever try to intervene?
Yeah, I did one time.
You got your ass kicked?
No, we didn't do anything. I just stood in his way and I didn't say a word. I didn't even look at him, which I'm kind of like, I just got in his way. And I remember thinking, if this goes down, this goes down.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
I remember I was reading Will Smith's book, and he always said he felt bad because he never intervened. So that was like he said he felt like a coward.
Yeah.
You know, he never intervened. Watching his mother go through the abuse from his father, but I think he said his brother did. So it just a lot of that just makes you kind of think about everything that happened, everything that transpired with the slap and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like after why
Like, I'm gonna stand up for myself finally.
you didn't play the clip?
I'm trying to find
It was right there. I saw it.
Oh,
Go back to the hip hop DX
I'm waiting for
one.
them to play this clip.
This is wild, bro.
I didn't see this. Shit.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This was wild. Like I'm like, this is how you know too much is going on. First, this shit is it's wild but hilarious.
Keep it a buck. No, that's not quiet. And I'm those 5 or 6. How many? The first one was the worst one, and then the other ones I left early. Okay, so the worst one was Carl Winslow, I'm guessing. Yeah.
So you busting the door, you didn't hear?
No, because you know how me, I like to joke and play and stuff.
Right.
A nigga don't give a fuck. So I'm just hearing like, like, I'm like, oh, somebody wearing this bitch out on the crib. So I go busting the door. I look up, I see Carl Winslow. I'm like, this is crazy.
Wow.
Did he say he saw Carl Winslow? Y'all tell me if that's what y'all heard.
On
crib.
You know, I think Carl Winslow. I think of the cop on somebody down here, but you have to say picture that big ass nigga bent over.
That was what he said. And okay, so this is the thing. So now we're gonna laugh at this, right? Oh, it's so fun. Is it funny though? Is it funny though? And the reason why I ask, is it funny, is because I'm looking at Charlamagne as someone who's also been accused of such things, which is why I feel like it is so ridiculous for Charlamagne to be the voice that anyone is asking as if he's an authority on any of this shit for a couple of reasons. Hold up. Let me go back because I want Charlamagne to be on the screen.
I know.
First of all, Charlamagne, you were in New York. You worked with Wendy Williams. You had a first-hand view of the shit that Diddy was into and the shit that Diddy was doing. Your continued ignorance, as if you did not know it was this bad, fucking cap. First of all. So now you playing with my intelligence, and Charlamagne, you're somebody I've also had a love-hate relationship with. I love him, hate him, love him, hate him, read the book, loved him. Then you do shit online. You want to act like y'all smart and woke. Okay, giving it a chance. Now we've come to this moment. You're annoying the fuck out of me, Charlamagne. You really are, because you playing in our face too. How is you sitting here acting like you don't have any allegations against yourself? How is that not the same thing as Diddy getting on the fucking internet and lying, saying that Cassie was just trying to get a quick paycheck out of him? That it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You knew what was going on. You know what's going on. And then you get up here on public platforms and act as if you don't. You've done that repeatedly. And that shit is why I don't want to hear anything else that Charlamagne has to say when it comes to these types of situations. Because if you cannot be honest about how you have also been accused, how you have also put shit in women's drinks so that you have easier access to them, how you've also allegedly allowed a young girl to go to a party or get together with you and she ends up being assaulted. Yeah, Charlamagne, I'm gonna need for you to stop acting like this is not a specific person situation and it's just the overall issue. Yeah, it's an overall issue, but the only way you deal with the overall issue is to back it all the way up to why, who, when, what. You have to back it all the way up. And you're still trying to create some dissonance, okay? Some distance between you, Diddy, and the domestic violence and the assaulting and the putting shit in women's drinks so that you can have control of them because you want to have sex with them. And this is the thing. Most men are trying to find ways to trick some woman out of her coochie, whether it's convincing her that he loves her, whether it's convincing her he can do more for her than he really can, whether it's doing shit like what they do. A lot of men have an attitude towards women is how can I trick this woman out of her coochie? I want y'all to realize that's not good. Stop that. Stop it. He worked on my nerves. I'm sorry. Let's continue on. So let's go here first. Notorious B.I.G.'s mother, Valletta Wallace. I hope that I see Sean Combs one day, and the only thing I want to do is slap the daylights out of him. And you can quote me on that. I would just want you to be careful because based on what we heard, he'll smack your ass back. But we understand and we know there's probably a lot of reason why that lady feel that way. And we're going to get into it when we read this article because I have my feelings. I have my thoughts. I have my assumptions that I don't know for a fact if they're true or not. And so when I get into this article, I'm going to let you know this is my opinion. This is my opinion. It is not something I know for a fact, but it's what I feel. And so when we get into it and I talk to y'all about it, I don't want nobody saying Bondi said this. No, Bondi said that's what she felt. And if it turns out to be true, then we'll know it's another moment where my ass was right. Okay. Now, music journalist Somaya Krishnamurthy says she never witnessed Diddy abuse Cassie during her internship at Bad Boy. It's important we don't get blinded by biases or fandom. My first hip hop internship was at Bad Boy Records. I briefly worked with Diddy's office when he dated Cassie. It was my dream job. I never saw or experienced abuse, but that's my story. It's important we don't get blinded by biases or fandom and let victims share their stories. So here's the thing. This is very conflicting for me. And this is what I feel about anybody that doesn't want to speak on Diddy out of fear, or if your experience of him wasn't a bad experience. At the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter because your experience of him is irrelevant when we're talking about the experiences of people like Cassie and everybody else that saw the abuse. That's why I feel like this lady right here is lying. And that's what I'm saying. Don't get up here and say that you didn't see anything when Puffy didn't give a fuck. Puffy was doing any and everything in front of anybody because nobody was going to say anything. Nobody was going to do something. And absolutely a fucking intern was not going to say or do anything to ruin her career. So if she did see something, hear something, know of something, she's never going to say anything. So that's why it is so fucking annoying to me when y'all decide to come out and tell us about how that's not your experience of him. Your experience of him is irrelevant at this point. We don't need everybody to come out and tell us about the good times they've had with him when we're hearing about some of these like catastrophic, traumatic things that he's done to so many people. I don't want to hear your opinion about, and then at the end to say it's important we don't get blinded by biases or fandom. Girl, I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't think any of us, for real, the bulk of us are not being blinded by fandom or biases. Nobody wanted to fucking dislike Puff Daddy. Nobody wanted to see Puff Daddy go down like y'all try to act like. Nobody wanted that. The two songs that blew him up are literally two of my favorite songs. One More Chance and Flavor in Your Ear. Okay? Two of my favorite songs literally play in my household at least 3 times a month. I'm telling you this for a fact. So please don't misconstrue. And I hate when y'all do that. Y'all act like people are being biased. No, we're dealing with the fact that this is somebody that has been getting away with this shit for so many years. We all saw it. Nobody could say anything, and that was intentional. So when people come out and want to tell us that, oh, don't get blinded, bitch, if you're not going to come out and add to this story, don't say anything. Because all it does is leave room for people to feel like because you didn't experience it, that it didn't happen to the people that actually did experience it. That's why it's best for you to just shut the fuck up. Kalina from Love and Hip Hop. Oh, baby. Wait till we get to her in this article. Okay? Thank you, Lady T. Hey, boss babe. Happy belated birthday. Much love and have a beautiful day. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have a beautiful day as well. So, y'all, now that I've, let's see. I think that was the only ones that I really wanted to discuss like that before we get into the actual article, right? Hold up. Feds reportedly obtained surveillance video of a male sex. What are you learning about Diddy's home? Man claimed he was victimized by Diddy, and feds plan to use him as witness in possible indictment. Let me hear what this is, and then we'll get into
about the evidence that investigators could be reviewing here.
So as I mentioned, those federal raids that were conducted on his homes back in March, obviously a lot of people wondering what was seized. Well, we are learning now that federal investigators are in possession of video footage that was taken inside of Combs's residence. We hear that these investigators have been contacting individuals that they have seen on this footage. One person, in addition to the accusers who have filed these civil suits, is a male sex worker. That is what a source tells me, and that they have been brought in for questioning through these federal investigators. Now, when the raids first happened, we had a law enforcement source tell us at CNN that the investigation was largely based in sex trafficking, which is what HSI specializes in. Now we are hearing that that scope has been widened and that investigators are really looking into all of these claims put forth in these civil lawsuits. That would include not just sex trafficking, but also money laundering and illegal drugs. I have a source who tells me, quote, "This is much bigger than just these lawsuits."
And we know that because they're about to pull him up on RICO, on racketeering, because you're traveling across state lines, you're selling women's coochies without them even knowing. And that's another thing, y'all. That's what I really want y'all to understand, because everybody will talk about this situation. Oh, the girls knew what they were getting into. The girls knew what was going to happen. No, they fucking didn't. No, they didn't. There are literally stories of Diddy going to other men so he can have permission to put his hands on a woman. That's not a situation where everybody around him is just a sex worker that he's being paid to do messed up stuff to. That's not what this is, y'all. It's not. This is somebody that likes to wield his power around because he is an empty vessel on the inside. And feeling power over other people is the only way he feels good about himself. And that is a fucking problem. That is not something you can go and get help for, Misa. It's not something you can pray away and ask the Holy Ghost to fix, Kelly Price. This is who this man is. And Monique Slaughter in the fucking comments talking about who cares? Bitch, shut up. Shut up. Because y'all work on my nerves when y'all act like because there are other injustices going on in the world, we should ignore this one. No, we're not. No, we're not. Just like you want us to give a fuck every time you decide to get on the internet and say something because you're a Z-list celebrity, we're gonna also give some attention to what's going on with Diddy, because the greater problem is powerful men being able to do whatever they want to do because they have money and access. That is the greater story here. So when you bring up what Trump is doing, no difference. Powerful man that gets to get away with grabbing pussies and hijacking countries and shit because he has money and got tapes on the right people. You don't even realize how Trump and Diddy are one and the same. And you sitting up here talking about, no, who cares about Diddy? What about Trump? What about him? What about him? A lot of us like to focus on what we can actually do something about. We could stop supporting this nigga. I'm already not voting for honestly. Like, I don't even think I'm gonna vote in the presidential election because I'm not feeling either one of you motherfuckers. The more we get into this shit, the more I feel a way about what's going on. Okay. I'm not gonna say it because y'all, they're gonna already strike this video probably. But y'all know I feel it because I don't like for anybody to be enslaved, for anybody to be oppressed, for anybody to be locked off into a box area and told that if they move outside the confines of that box, they gonna get put in jail or killed. I don't like that happening anywhere. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. When are y'all gonna learn that? When are y'all gonna learn? Every one of these things matters. All of it matters. Okay, so let's get into the article, y'all. Y'all got y'all snacks? Y'all ready? Make sure y'all like the video because I'm about to do some real work here reading this article, girl. I pre-read it, so hopefully I won't have a lot of issues. Let's get into it. Like the video. As he took the stage at the BET Awards in June 2022 to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, Sean Diddy Combs was elated. Yeah, 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 he bellowed, punctuating his words with triumphant jumps. The adoring crowd who gave him a sustained standing ovation, including his mother and children, longtime friends, and music industry peers Kanye West, Janelle Monáe, Babyface, and Lil Wayne. After 3 decades of relentless hustling that took him from hungry teenage intern to A&R executive producer, label impresario, respected fashion designer, and household brand name, Diddy had seemingly reached the apotheosis. Okay, I'm trying to spell, of his career. He had reached the top. Okay, you heard it. Okay, he had reached the top. He was up the ladder to the roof. He closed his eyes and repeatedly thanked God. Honestly, I want to know, and please, y'all put some ones in the chat if you were on my live when I talked about the BET Awards and how I felt that whole speech was weird and that I didn't like it and that it felt manipulative. And I said it. And I literally remember the moment that I was watching it and I was like, this shit is manipulative as fuck. Okay. So I don't know if y'all remember when I said that, but put ones in the chat if you remember when that happened originally. Cause y'all remember I said that shit. Now let's come back to this so you can see how fucked up this speech really was. And I picked it up. It was so dark. Thank you. I see y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that y'all are here to, to know I had said this when I first saw it. His energy was so weird in that speech. On top of the, hey, Poppy, and ignoring her stupid ass in the crowd. Girl. He closed his eyes and repeatedly thanked God. He got down on one knee and praised his mother. He name-checked a laundry list of people who'd mentored and inspired him. Anything I do is through love, Combs proclaimed early in a 9-minute speech. That's what I evolved to be, and that's what I'm doing right now. But soon, Combs struck a more somber tone. I was in a dark place for a few years, he said. I got to give a special thank you to the people that was really there for me. He listed friends and advisors. Then, looking directly into the camera, he added Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love. He raised one hand to make an L sign and held his gaze steady, silently for several seconds. Weirdo. Combs and Cassandra Cassie Ventura, a former singer for his iconic band Bad Boy record label, had split 4 years earlier, but he had been openly pining for her ever since. He posted photos of her online and urged her to listen to Michael Jackson's The Lady in My Life. He publicly congratulated her on her first pregnancy with her husband. His comments at the award show were part of a pattern of behavior, one that had been tormenting Ventura for years. When she learned of her ex's latest remark, sources say Ventura was distressed. She was also resolute, meaning now I'm going for that ass. I told y'all that fucking speech was weird. I felt it. I just knew that was some like grimy, weird ass stuff he had going on in that moment. Almost 18 months later, in November 2023, Ventura sued Combs, claiming he held her in a violent form of sexual servitude throughout their relationship and outed her upon their final breakup in 2018. She invoked Combs' BET speech in her filing for Ms. Ventura. The dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking. She said Combs' brutal beatings, one of them captured in harrowing hotel surveillance video obtained by TMZ in May, left her with bruises, bust lips, black eyes, and extensive trauma. For Grammy-winning songwriter Tiffany Red, a friend of Ventura's who worked closely with the singer during the height of the alleged abuse, Combs' words from the BET stage had been a taunt. It's like harassment, she explains. You're still fucking with her. Leave her alone. Leave her the fuck alone. Now, y'all saw I had just put my video out. I don't know if y'all saw when I talked about Chris Brown and Quavo. I told y'all that I felt like Chris Brown referencing Karrueche in any shape, way, or form was him re-traumatizing her. I said that, and I felt that, and I mean that, because that's what they do. They can't have access to you anymore, so they make public declarations about you, and then it'll send all of their followers over to your social medias and all of that, so you can be bombarded by these niggas' energy again. It's intentional. In the 5 years after her breakup with Combs, Ventura remained silent. While he was posting about her pregnancy in 2019, she was negotiating in distress behind the scenes to escape her bad boy contract, Red says. Despite Ventura signing a 10-album deal in 2006, that was a fuck up from the beginning. Bad Boy only released one studio album by her. Combs was allegedly trying to tie her separation agreement to a non-disparagement clause. It's not like we were negotiating with just her record label, Red says. We were negotiating with her abuser. Through her lawyer, Ventura declined to speak for this article. Combs did not respond to a request for comment on this allegation. At some point, Ventura checked herself into a rehab center to deal with the physical and psychological repercussions of her time with Combs and found renewed purpose in being a mom. Her lawsuit says when she eventually gathered her strength and stepped forward, a flurry of other lawsuits followed. 5 more women have since accused Combs of violent sexual assault dating as far back as 1990. 2 of whom claimed that Combs secretly recorded their sexual encounters and showed the footage to others without their consent. Can y'all think about that for a second? Even if you did sign up to have sex with Diddy and he records it and shows it to other people, you don't think that's a violation? You don't think that's something that deserves, like, run me my money? Music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones also sued, alleging Combs groped his genitals and forced him to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. While Combs would eventually take responsibility for the assault captured on surveillance video, he has vehemently denied all the other allegations against him. The day Ventura filed her complaint, he blasted it as a shakedown based on outrageous lies. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Ms. Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. His lawyer, Ben Brafman, said. In response, Ventura's lawyer, Douglas Wigdor, said Combs offered Ms. Ventura 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of this lawsuit. The parties came to an undisclosed settlement within 24 hours of Ventura's filing. When his 4th accuser sued in December, Combs, 54, issued another passionate denial. Enough is enough. Y'all remember that was the one that all them niggas wanted to come and comment on. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. And they really get y'all with that, when they really make y'all feel like it's so messed up when somebody tries to get financial compensation for emotional, mental, or physical trauma, which is crazy. Because if you get in a car accident, your insurance company is going to get money so that your issue can be taken care of. If a hospital is faulty, if anybody does something that causes you harm, you are allowed to sue. So it's crazy to me that when somebody takes over another person's body, y'all don't think that that's worthy of a payday. Bitch is worth a paid couple of years. Okay? A salary or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, depending on how much salary is. That type of trauma stays with people for the rest of their fucking life. And you think a quick payday is enough? It's never enough. But please, run me my money. I'm sorry, let me continue. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. Bullshit. Bullshit. For many, the lurid allegations against Combs were jarring, in part because he had risen to such great heights as a bankable bon vivant who threw the best parties from New York City to the Hamptons to Hollywood. He's the pop culture stalwart who walked under a parasol held by a campy valet, Farnsworth Bentley in Saint-Tropez, and turned up at a Met Gala in a Swarovski crystal-encrusted tuxedo and floor-length cape. He rapped about Bentleys and Benjamins and held court at his over-the-top annual white parties attended by Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, and Martha Stewart. He called himself the Great Gatsby and considered circus showman P.T. Barnum his muse. Child, if y'all knew how they treated them animals at the circus. Now, the spotlight Combs constantly chased is trained on his alleged crimes. In staggering scenes that underscored his fall from grace, heavily armed Homeland Security agents stormed his sprawling Los Angeles and Miami estates as part of a federal sex trafficking investigation on March 25th. Investigators tore through his offices. Y'all, the fact that Biggie died. Listen, investigators tore through his offices and bedrooms, leaving cables dangling from a command center and multiple safes wide open. 3 gleaming Grammys and an Oscar sat atop a gutted console like relics of a crumbling regime. A crestfallen Combs was later seen alone, a cell phone hanging useless in his hand as he slowly paced around Miami Opa-locka Airport. His vacation in the Bahamas was canceled, his once fortified homes breached, his adult sons handcuffed, and his empire on the brink. This is a good article, y'all. This is a real good article. Let's continue. While the raids made global headlines, the silence from Combs' famous friends was palpable. This felt different than before, when he could use a checkbook, a high-powered attorney, and a media blitz to overcome scrapes with the law. When his charisma, influence, and connections would allow him to shake off allegations of violence or outcry from his disenfranchised artists. Reparations is getting closer and closer, former bad boy artist Mace said a day after the raids. The big payback. Over the past 6 months, Rolling Stone conducted dozens of interviews with Combs' former friends, acquaintances, employees, and bad boy artists, as well as industry insiders. Out of 300 plus people contacted for this investigation, more than 50 were willing to speak about their experiences. Several would do so only off the record, citing a fear of retribution. Some requested compensation in exchange for their stories. Rolling Stone does not pay for interviews. Many declined to participate, wanting to distance themselves from Combs. "I'm trying to leave that part of my life behind me," says one former employee. Those who did speak about Combs described a complicated man with opposing personas. Outwardly, they see a tastemaker who is unapologetically driven, generous, and jovial, even silly at times. He can be the same privately, but associates who got close enough to him discovered something darker behind the facade. A menacing figure who desperately wants to be accepted and admired, who uses public declarations of devotion, splashy donations, and boasts that he is brother love to hide an undercurrent of alleged abuse and violence that in one previously unreported allegation traces back to before his career even started. Combs wielded his growing power to bend people to his will. Sources claim sending staffers to win back one-time girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, beating a label executive bloody after he became romantically involved with Combs' ex-partner Kim Porter, and allegedly trying to solicit sex from a woman on his payroll. As part of this investigation, Rolling Stone sent Combs a detailed list of questions about the new and pending allegations. He did not specifically address any of them. And I quote, Mr. Combs cannot comment on settled litigation, will not comment on pending litigation, and cannot address every allegation picked up by the press from any source, no matter how unreliable. His lawyer, Jonathan Davis, tells Rolling Stone. We are aware that the proper authorities are conducting a thorough investigation and therefore have confidence any important issues will be addressed in the proper forum, where the rules distinguish facts from fiction. That's very cute, but you're talking to fucking Rolling Stone. You're not talking to a blog. I'm just saying. I don't know what he's talking about. Y'all here with me? We good? Okay. Joy Dickerson Neal, who is suing Combs for sexual assault, tells Rolling Stone that her decision to come forward isn't about money. It's about making sure the world sees that this man who rose to the level of an icon is actually sick and has left so many victims in the wake of his unpunished, disgusting behavior for years. For Ventura, Combs presented as her flashy, established 37-year-old label boss when he pulled her into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her on her 21st birthday in 2007, leaving her in tears, according to her complaint. She says he was holding the keys to her nascent music career when he pressured her to consume drugs and have sex that same year. Combs quickly became deeply entrenched in every aspect of her life, paying for her apartment, having her medical records sent directly to him, and lashing out for perceived slights, the lawsuit says. When Ventura tried to move on and had a brief romantic relationship with musician Kid Cudi in 2011, Combs allegedly beat her. Combs later told Ventura he planned to blow up the rapper's car in his driveway, the lawsuit claims. In a statement to the New York Times in November, Cudi confirmed that his car exploded. This is all true, he said. And I just I want y'all to hear that, okay? So when everybody keeps talking about why didn't Cassie leave? Cassie tried to leave several times, even when it started dating someone else, and he almost killed the person that she went and dated. That's why she went back. Hello. Does that make sense? Y'all like the video? In her suit, Ventura says she learned to blindly submit to Combs to avoid vicious beatings. Eventually, her lawsuit claims the abuse extended to sex trafficking, with Combs ordering her to slather herself in oil, get high and drunk, and have intercourse with male sex workers while Combs pleasured himself and filmed the interactions, which he dubbed freak-offs. She learned to disassociate during these horrific encounters, she says. The public got a disturbing window into Combs' treatment of Ventura in the surveillance video unearthed by CNN. In it, a towel-clad Combs is seen pursuing a barefoot and fleeing Ventura after he'd allegedly punched her in the face during a freak-off in a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. At an elevator bank, Combs throws Ventura to the floor, kicks her, stomps on her, and attempts to drag her back to the room before grabbing what appears to be a vase off of a table and hurling it in her direction. Ventura describes the incident in her lawsuit and alleges that Combs paid the hotel $50,000 to obtain the footage. After years in silence and darkness, I am finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships, Ventura said in a statement accompanying her lawsuit. This was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life. As Ventura's damning allegations were on the verge of going public, Combs was strategizing, according to Jones, who produced multiple songs on Combs' Grammy-nominated 2023 release, The Love Album, Off the Grid. He detailed how he planned to leverage his relationship with celebrity pastor Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact on his public image. Jones wrote in a sworn declaration in April. Jakes did not reply to a request for comment. Publicly, Combs seemingly jumped into overdrive, producing positive press. What did I tell y'all? Using Carisha, all of that shit. He fulfilled his $1 million promises to his alma mater, Howard University, and the football program at another historically Black college, Jackson State University. He took a minute, though. He launched Empower Global, an e-commerce platform for Black entrepreneurs. And in dropping his new album, proclaiming he was in his love era, he announced that he was giving bad boy artists and songwriters their publishing rights back. Only some artists say they were offered rights back, and Danity Kane's Aubrey O'Day said she refused because her offer came with a mandatory non-disclosure agreement. A year before her breakup with Combs, Ventura conceptualized a short film titled Cassie that appears telling in hindsight. In a voiceover speaking about the film's fictionalized romance, she says, "How do you just walk away from it and escape it? I just want to be free." It reminds me of what Tina Turner said. I just can't walk out on him. I just can't walk out. And that right there is the trauma bonding between the abuser and the victim, where you want to leave, but you're scared to leave. But then you also, on some level, will feel bad if you left. And it's the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing. So let's get into the meat, okay? I'm gonna hit this like button. Okay, hopefully y'all are enjoying this, because I swear to God, I wish somebody had read it so that I didn't have to read it. So quick little like, and then we're going to get into the bulk of the article. I was trying to set that up. Okay, so like the video, and we're about to get into it. Number 1, Puff is out here acting crazy. He's beating her. The hotel security footage prompted horrified reactions around the world. Forced to acknowledge his actions, Combs made a rare admission of guilt, but tailored it to that incident. "I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, and I make no excuses. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted." He claimed he went to therapy and rehab and was truly sorry. Ventura's lawyer said Combs' apology showed his pathetic desperation. Many who watched footage of the assault were stunned, even those who'd known Combs for years. LaJoyce Brookshire, the former publicity director for Arista and Bad Boy, says she was disturbed to learn that, quote, "these types of actions could have occurred, and that Puffy could stand in my face the next day with a straight face. That shakes me to my core," end quote. Several women who attended Howard with Combs, however, had seen signs of a controlling and abusive personality decades ago, which lets me know LaJoyce Brookshire is fucking lying. LaJoyce Brookshire is lying. Combs started at the esteemed college, Howard University, in the fall of 1987. Child, that was the year before I was born. And quickly earned a reputation for throwing legendary rowdy parties, flamboyant and boisterous. He was often seen driving his convertible around campus and passing out flyers. Though he left after his sophomore year, Combs turned Howard into a pipeline for his enterprises, teaming up with future label execs and producers Harve Pierre, Mark Pitts, and Derek D. Angeletti, all key figures in Bad Boy's early success. Shantae Page, a former A&R executive for Universal Motown Record Group, was among those who say they had positive experiences with Combs at Howard, calling his iconic parties a once-in-a-lifetime type of vibe. He was a go-getter from the start, she says, always in the know. But other women describe previously unreported incidents involving unwanted touching and fits of rage. One woman says she kept as far away as possible after Combs caressed her back without warning and asked if she would be willing to meet one of his friends. Do y'all hear that? That's him walking over to a woman and basically propositioning her to give her coochie to one of his friends. This is in college. Another former student recalled that Combs flew off the handle after she objected to him cutting a cafeteria line. While the moments may seem small, they showed flashes of danger that would soon explode. A third former student recalls how the future mogul would tap on the window of an English class to get a girlfriend to ditch. The visits became noticeably unwelcome. The classmate tells Rolling Stone, and I quote, "She would tense up when Combs appeared." The student who sat next to the woman in class recalls, "He just had a weird control thing. I felt like she was fearful. end quote. The classmate, who requested anonymity due to fear of retribution, says her concerns were validated when Combs appeared outside the school's Harriet Tubman quadrangle dorm and started screaming in a belligerent manner for his girlfriend to come outside. The classmate says other women soon began running through the halls, knocking on doors in a panic. They were sounding the alarm that Combs, known then by his nickname Puff, was attacking the young woman outside, she recalls. Puff is out here acting crazy. He's beating her, the fellow student says, according to the classmate. He screamed and hollered and acted a stone fool until she came downstairs. Another Howard student who witnessed the alleged attack tells Rolling Stone. She says Combs used what appeared to be a belt to strike the woman all over the place. Speaking on the condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the incident, the witness said Combs appeared super angry and was screaming at the top of his lungs. She says he whooped her butt, like really whooped her butt. The witness says the woman was clearly terrorized. She was trying to defend herself a little bit. She was crying, and we were telling him, get off of her. We were screaming for her. A third source also recalled the alleged assault to Rolling Stone. The woman at the center of the alleged attack declined to comment. So this is Puffy beating a woman with a belt on a college campus in a quad where everybody can see. But y'all want us to believe that there were people working with him that never saw that side of him? I don't believe it, because I don't believe it's something he can control. Combs was born with a short fuse, telling Jet Magazine he earned his nickname as a kid because he would always huff and puff when he got mad. I had a temper. That's why my friends started calling me Puffy, he said. His mom, Janice, a former kindergarten teacher, described him as a ham. Combs barely knew his father, Melvin, a handsome drug dealer working for a Harlem kingpin. He was murdered in 1972 at the age of 33 when Combs was just a toddler. Throughout the years, Combs mourned the loss of a father figure, but Melvin had a profound influence on him nonetheless. Even if we don't know our parents, we still have their DNA in us. We have their genes, Combs has said. I have his hustler's mentality, his hustler spirit, his drive, his determination, his swag. Sounds like he was always trying to be somebody that was not him. Like never really figuring out exactly who he was, but wanted to be the dad. Then you wanted to be MC Hammer. Then you wanted to be who else, y'all? He didn't swagger jack so many damn people, like stealing Mace's music and kind of passing it off as his own, like acting like he was actually producing a lot of those records when it was really Stevie J and the rest of them niggas that he had, created that production group with. He was always taking somebody else's image. And yes, Tupac, he always took somebody else's image, studied it, and then acted it out for everybody. Okay. When Janice moved the family from Harlem to the suburb of Mount Vernon, 12 miles north, Combs straddled disparate worlds. In one, he was a defensive back on the football team at his all-boys Catholic high school. In the other, he rode a train to the city, immersing himself in his burgeoning hip-hop scene. And I quote, I didn't know exactly what he would do, but he was blasting me out of the house with his mixing kit I bought him when he was 13, making that noise, scratching those records, end quote, Janice told Vibe in 1993. After a taste of celebrity at Howard, Combs itched for more. He was hell-bent on breaking into the music industry, simultaneously attending college and working a part-time internship at Uptown Records back in New York City. It was Uptown artist Heavy D, a neighbor in Mount Vernon, who brokered the job interview after Combs repeatedly badgered the rapper at their local pizza spot. Former Uptown A&R VP Kurt Woodley tells Rolling Stone, Combs commuted from Howard for the job, evading the train fare by hiding from the conductor in the bathroom. He dropped out of school to work at Uptown full-time, eventually becoming CEO Andre Harrell's mentee. Y'all, the fact that he harassed Heavy D, I know people think that just shows that somebody has a lot of, hustle and spirit in them, but that's also a telltale sign of people that will badger you in any shape, way, or form. Think about Enough. Y'all know Jennifer Lopez movie Enough, where she's being abused. One of the first scenes when they're setting it all up is when she gets pregnant, they're married, and he goes to this man's house and said, my wife likes your house. I want to buy your house. And that man was like, I'm not about to buy you my house. I mean, I'm not about to sell you my house. And he says, well, if you don't sell it to me today, I'm going to come back every day. I'm going to come back every day until you sell it to me. That type of persistence, that type of energy, y'all, that shit is dangerous. It can seem good. It can seem like a hustler. It can seem like somebody that has, a lot of drive about themselves. That's like a go-getter. They not taking no for an answer. Yeah, that could be good at times. It can. But it can also be very fucking scary. That someone doesn't have doesn't have a stop button. They will just continue to harass you until they get what they want. Yeah, no. That's not that's not always good. Combs' ascent at Uptown is by now part of his lore. He helped newcomers Mary J. Blige and Jodeci go multi-platinum after reshaping their images. He reinvented the remix and ushered hip-hop soul into the cultural lexicon. He threw exclusive Daddy's House parties at the since-shuttered Manhattan hip-hop club Red Zone that even his older Uptown colleagues jockeyed to attend. He had the ability to convince people that whatever he was doing or wherever he was, that was the hot shit. Dan Charnas, author of The Big Payback, The History of the Business of Hip Hop, tells Rolling Stone. He understood more than anyone how the innovations of hip hop, specifically sampling and using classic rap records as a basis for R&B songs, would be really powerful for a generation. As Combs' star was rising at Uptown, his predatory instincts resurfaced, according to the sexual assault lawsuit filed by Joy Dickerson Neal last November. Dickerson Neal acted opposite Combs in a 1990 music video and received what she considered a warning from Bronx rapper Sister Souljah to keep her distance, given his infamous reputation. Shout out to Sister Souljah. She declined to comment, but she did her job, okay? When you just warn somebody, okay, you did your job. Shout out to Sister Souljah. Dickerson Neal says she reluctantly agreed to a dinner date with Combs in January 1991 while she was a college student paying for her studies with a restaurant job. Wary of being alone with him, she requested they dine where she worked. She alleges Combs spiked her drink when she used the bathroom and later pressured her into taking a hit off of a blunt. She says her legs went rubbery a short time later and that Combs awed her at a nearby residence. She also claims Combs filmed the attack and showed the video to others like a trophy. Through a rep, Combs denied the allegations at the time. This 32-year-old story is made up and not credible. Mr. Combs never assaulted her. Combs' lawyers have moved to dismiss portions of the lawsuit, calling the allegations false, offensive, and salacious. The same thing he did to Cassie. Mike Nice Lewis, who worked with Dickerson Neal at the short-lived PMD Records, telling Rolling Stone that she confided in him at the office about the alleged sexual assault in the early 1990s. Combs and Bad Boy came up in conversation, and Lewis says Dickerson Neal's demeanor abruptly changed. Lewis claims Dickerson Neal told him that she had a very bad sexual experience with Combs, keeping her head down as she talked. I believe Joy, he says. I just knew from what she was telling me that it still affected her even 2 years later. Adds Michelle Kayola? I think it might be Kayola. Attorney for Dickerson Neal and another accuser, Crystal McKinney. The amount of irreparable harm to my clients' mental health and professional lives cannot be overstated. Within hours of Dickerson Neal filing her complaint, another woman sued Combs for R. Liza Gardner claimed she was 16 in 1990 when she and a friend met Combs and Uptown singer-songwriter Aaron Hall at an MCA Records event in Manhattan. Gardner alleges the men were very flirtatious and handsy, feeding the girls drinks and inviting them to Hall's residence for an after party. She alleges Combs offered her more alcohol at Hall's home in New Jersey and forced her into sex despite her protests. While she was still shocked and traumatized trying to get dressed, Hall allegedly barged into the room, pinned her down, and R'd her too. Garner claims an irate Combs later showed up where she was staying and began choking her until she almost passed out. Combs feared the woman would tell his girlfriend what he and Hall had done, the lawsuit claims. I believe it. Combs' legal team denied Gardner's allegations, calling them a money grab. Sound familiar? But another woman who says she was with Gardner the night of the alleged attack corroborated many details of Gardner's lawsuit in a sworn affidavit filed in mid-May. The woman, who is the younger sister of the friend mentioned in Gardner's complaint, said she has a photo of herself with Gardner and Hall from the evening in question. She recalled frantically looking around Hall's apartment for her sister and Gardner after they disappeared with Combs and Hall. The then 15-year-old said she walked into a room and saw a man watching whatever Puffy was doing to Liza. The woman wrote that she awoke the next morning at a different location where an upset Gardner said Combs had just shown up there and choked her. Hall did not respond to a request for comment. Back in the Uptown office, Combs' inflated ego, outsized opinions, and Machiavellian scheming were becoming a problem for his peers. This is why I know that everybody that was working with him that comes out and said they didn't have a bad experience is fucking lying. He went from internally divisive to openly controversial in December 1991 when he and Heavy D helped organize a celebrity charity basketball game at City College of New York that left 9 people dead, aged 15 to 28, and dozens injured in a stampede. Combs shirked responsibility, claiming he had tried to enlist help from the NYPD and that he had personally administered CPR to several people. But an incident report ordered by then Mayor David Dinkins faulted him for allowing inexperienced underlings to handle the event planning, and found that reckless over promotion had drawn too many people without tickets to the event. Please understand that that's what he does. That reckless over promotion, y'all. Yeah. Oh yeah, we've already talked about Aaron Hall. We already know that Aaron Hall is on a Vlad or somebody's interview, basically corroborating how he treats women. You know, beat the pussy up, huh? That type of shit. So we know that whatever that lady said would happen with Aaron Hall, we believe it. Okay? I'm just saying. I believe all of this shit. Where was I? When the city investigating possible criminal charges, lawsuits mounting, and rivals pushing Harrell to cut Combs loose, the Uptown exec urged Combs to lie low. A terrified Combs spent months holed up in a Manhattan hotel with his mother, according to Kirk Burroughs, Bad Boy's co-founding partner and president. Burroughs was fired from Bad Boy in 1997. In 2003, he sued Combs for allegedly threatening him with a baseball bat and coercing him into signing over his stake in the company. Did y'all hear that? This nigga threatened Kirk Burroughs with a baseball bat to make him sign over his stake in Bad Boy. Y'all. His claims were dismissed as beyond the statute of limitations. Ain't that some shit? After the controversy subsided and Combs returned to Uptown, he still considered himself Harrell's heir apparent, but his access to his mentor was restricted. He spent much of 1992 producing Blige's landmark debut, What's the 411, gaining redemption in the album's acclaim. Around this time, he founded his own Uptown imprint, Bad Boy Entertainment, where he could sign his own artists and make extra cash. Burroughs remembers jealous Uptown execs referring to Combs as Satan and flipping him off as they walked by his small offices in the Uptown building. Child, they called him Satan even back then. Harrell soured on him too, as Woodley recalls. Harrell said, "I'm going to fire Puff. He's getting a little too big for himself. He's bothering people." With pressure mounting, Harrell fired Combs in July 1993. Uptown was supposed to oversee the album release of Combs' newest signee, Christopher Wallace, aka the Notorious B.I.G., but Combs was free to find a new home for his fledgling label. The termination was devastating for Combs, Burrows says, leaving the 23-year-old crying buckets of tears outside the office. He loved Andre, Burrows says. He loved Uptown. He didn't understand what Bad Boy was going to be. I cried for a couple of days and felt like I wanted to jump off a building, Combs told Rolling Stone in 1995. I think at times I was hard to work with. Possibly I was doing shit that an asshole would do, just abusing the power. But that was only a little bit of time. Do y'all hear the pattern of how often, whenever he's called to task about something he's done, he acts as if it was something he did back then and now he's changed? Do y'all see the pattern that he keeps doing? And another thing, the abandonment issues, y'all. He has abandonment issues. That's why nobody can leave him. That's why, he does all of these things to control people. A lot of men who are abusive in that way, who are controlling, they have abandonment issues. Your dad died. You felt like somebody left you that leaves a hole. And so now every time a situation happens where you feel like you're being rejected or you're being abandoned, you spaz the fuck out. All of the money, all of the access, and could not access a motherfucking therapist. Do you know why? Because he doesn't think anything's wrong with him. That's why. Understand that when y'all be online talking about forgiving people and they need help, they can only want to receive help. They have to do that on their own. That's not our cross to bear. That's not even a conversation we need to be having. The only thing we need to be talking about is how to hold him responsible, accountable, and how to keep it from happening over and over again with other people in power that feel like they can do the same thing until they become too big for their britches, and then the public has to smack that ass. Okay? The Making of a Mogul, Part 2. Cast out of Uptown and blamed for a tragedy that claimed 9 lives, Combs could have faded into obscurity, but he was scrappy and determined, quickly securing a reported $10 million deal from Arista Records' Clive Davis that kept Bad Boy Entertainment alive. Now, he was helming a skeleton crew, eager to turn artists into superstars and cement hip-hop as a mainstream genre. While the world did not understand the power of hip-hop, I was working in it and watching it unfold, says Michelle Joyce, Bad Boy's first director of marketing. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't if it was going to pop, it was when. It wasn't easy. Hours were brutal, pay was low, and the workload intense. The next summer, only 1 year after Combs' dismissal from Uptown, their work paid off with Craig Mack's ubiquitous Flavor in Your Ear and the Notorious B.I.G.'s One More Chance. In the next 3 years, Bad Boy will become the premier label for upcoming hip-hop and R&B artists, churning out chart-topping albums from Faith Evans, Total, and 112, and soundtracking clubs and radio stations nationwide. And in Wallace, Bad Boy had a budding superstar, Biggie Smalls, the storytelling genius with an effortless flow. Still, Combs was volatile. Burrows says he once saw Combs attack a woman inside Bad Boy's office in 1994. Do you hear? In the office in 1994. He and another ex-employee tell Rolling Stone they had to tear Combs off the woman after hearing screams and the sound of shattering glass. The woman declined Rolling Stone's request for comment. Felicia Newsom, the first manager of Bad Boy's recording studio, Daddy's House, said she once held Combs back when he was about to beat this girl's ass after a fight broke out between 2 women. I'm holding him by his waist saying, "You need to calm down. This is not your fight," Newsom recalls. Former Arista intern April Lamprost claims Combs turned violent with her too. In a lawsuit filed in May, Lamprost alleges Combs attacked her in a parking garage in the mid-1990s, forcing her to her knees to perform oral sex. It was one of 4 horrific sexual assaults she says she endured during her on-off relationship with Combs. As Bad Boy was on the rise, staffers kept Combs' transgressions quiet, whether out of loyalty, fear, or a belief that such incidents were rare. And that's what I need y'all to understand. A man having to be pulled off of beating a woman's ass is not rare. That's who he is. Men who are not like that don't do shit like that. I need y'all to understand that. Outwardly, he was the label's unceasing hype man, ad-libbing on tracks and making cameos in his artist videos. It was clear he wanted something bigger for himself. I distinctly remember the day that Clive Davis called and asked me to start garnering press for Puffy, just as if he were the artist, says Brookshire. Dancing in the videos. Come to death row. Sorry, y'all. Lives rent free. Shout out to Suge. Behind his back, I used to call him my problem child, the notorious VIP. Combs got all the press he wanted when he and his LA counterpart, Death Row Records boss Marion Suge Knight, became entangled in a years-long heavyweight hip-hop fight. The pair had once been friendly. Combs even modeled Bad Boy after Death Row. He told Rolling Stone in 1997. But the subsequent rivalry between Biggie and Knight's charismatic superstar, Tupac Shakur, would turn into a Pyrrhic victory for both labels. Combs was fond of Shakur, admiring his ability to marry street credibility with mainstream appeal. Burroughs notes that the Bad Boy team spent the summer of 1993 studying the rapper's buoyant hit, I Get Around. Now, I want y'all to think about the way you hear Puffy in the background of the records. Okay? Bad Boy, we ain't gonna da-da-da-da. Like all of this screaming and shit. Him copying Tupac after studying him. I just want y'all to rock. Pay attention. That's another moment of him stealing. I'm just saying. Desperate to be taken seriously, Combs tried to foster a friendship, but Shakur wasn't interested because Tupac was a true Gemini. And you could feel that shit when somebody got weird ass energy. And I promise you, Tupac felt his weird ass, fake ass energy. Pac didn't have any kind of respect for Puff, says 90s hip hop photographer Monique Bunn, who was close with Wallace and other Bad Boy artists. To Shakur and even Wallace, Bunn says, Combs was a corny executive. And y'all, I remember that is exactly the energy that they kind of gave Puff. Like, oh, we just let him do all of this shit because, he's just having a good time. But everybody felt like Puffy was corny. Instead, Shakur bonded with Wallace, whom he viewed as his peer, Burroughs remembers. As a result, he says, referring to Combs, there was someone on the sidelines jealous. So that sounds like to me, Puffy wanted to be friends with Tupac. Tupac picks up on your weird ass energy, but likes Biggie, both Geminis, okay? He likes Biggie, so him and Biggie become friends. Then who gets jealous? This nigga. He's now jealous of the friendship that Biggie and Tupac have created amongst themselves. The friendship would be short-lived after Tupac was ambushed and shot 5 times in the lobby of Quad Studios in Times Square in 1994. He blamed Combs and the Bad Boy crew for setting him up, which Combs has always denied. I think he did it, to be honest. I think he did set it up. And I think he did it intentionally to cause the beef. From there, everything got blown out of proportion, Bunn says. Bad Boy execs started encouraging Wallace to write certain songs, Burroughs says, despite the rapper not feeling so beefy with his former friend. And I felt that too. It often felt like Biggie didn't really want to do it, but this is what he was being pressed to do. And I want y'all to think about what happened when Kendrick and Drake and all of them are going at it. And J. Cole is like, yeah, this ain't in my spirit. He even got up there and said that people convinced him to do it, even though he did not want to. And I directly thought about Biggie and Tupac and how it could be blown out of proportion. Everybody was acting like, no, it's just rap. It's just rap. They're just battling. That's what rap is about. You guys couldn't have took it in the 90s. People were shooting at Drake's house. I'm just saying, niggas was shooting at Drake's house. I don't think it was Kendrick, but niggas was shooting at Drake's house. But we're going to keep acting like it's all just music. It's all just art. Right, Jill? Right, Jill? I'm sorry. From there, everything got blown out of proportion, Bunn says. Bad Boy execs started encouraging Wallace to write certain songs, Burroughs says, despite the rapper not feeling so beefy with his former friend. With tensions frothing, Combs released Wallace's single, Who Shot Ya, in 1995. It was widely viewed as a sneering provocation aimed at Shakur, though Wallace was adamant it wasn't. Shakur responded with the ferocious hit him up, pushing hostilities to the peak. Okay, first off, fuck your bitch and click your claim when we coming quick with game. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas fuck for life. Man, that nigga went to hell in that song. Okay. Who? Perhaps seeing a promotional play, Combs stoked the East Coast West Coast rivalry. How many times have I told y'all he antagonized that shit? The two label heads traded jabs, with Knight cast as the intimidating, cigar-chomping, gang-affiliated boss, and Combs, the slick, clean-cut executive. When a 25-year-old Shakur was murdered in September 1996 in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, Knight immediately pointed the finger at Combs, who denied involvement. We have since found out that Suge Knight was right. Some bad boy employees received personal death threats soon after. I didn't recall reading in the employee manual that dodging bullets was a part of my job description, Brookshire says. Last September, Compton Crips gang member Dwayne Keith D. Davis was charged with Shakur's murder. His trial is set to begin in November. Davis has claimed Combs offered $1 million for a hit on Shakur. Combs vehemently denies the claim. I've been saying that for years. I'm gonna let it go. 6 months after Shakur's death, in March 1997, Wallace, 24, was attending a Soul Train Music Awards after party in Los Angeles when a gunman opened fire on his GMC Suburban, killing him. Police considered the homicide an unsolved act of retaliation. And I talked to y'all, if y'all were on my live today, if y'all were on my Instagram live earlier, I told y'all Biggie died in March. By May, Missing You was already cut and a video was put out by May 11th. Less than 2 months after this man died, you already have a song to make yourself a victim and to capitalize off his death. Multiple reports allege Wallace had been preparing to leave Bad Boy shortly before his death. It didn't help that Combs had been fighting with Wallace's attorney, who were trying to wrest back the rapper's publishing rights. I will never give it up until I'm dead and my bones are crushed into powder, Combs told the lawyers, according to the Big Payback. Biggie was absolutely about to leave Puff, Bun says. I know for a fact because he told me that. Another source adds, everybody wanted to leave Puffy. Everybody leaves him. Combs capitalized on the shock and sorrow over Wallace's death. Brookshire, who had been traveling in the same SUV as Wallace during press events the day before he died, says Combs denied her request for time off to process her grief. Instead, just 2 weeks after the slaying, she says Combs ordered her to focus all efforts on Wallace's upcoming album, Life After Death. Combs demanded it be number one, top 10, she recalls. It sold nearly 700,000 copies in its first week. When Rolling Stone approached Bad Boy about a cover opportunity a few months after Biggie's murder, Burroughs claims he advocated for the late rapper to take the spot, but was telling Sean, I was telling Sean, let's make it Biggie. You still have a chance for a cover in the future, Burrow recalls. Diddy said, he's like, no, he's dead. I'm putting out Combs' debut album, No Way Out, in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Do y'all really feel like he gave a fuck about Biggie if he wouldn't even let Biggie have a goddamn magazine cover after his death? Burrow says he's like, no, he's dead. I'm putting out No Way Out in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Nigga, don't Rolling Stone come out once a month? Like, that's cold-blooded. That shit is cold-blooded, y'all. Combs got his cover, and 2 years later, he acknowledged how Biggie's death had been big business. I think his passing added to the fame, Combs told Rolling Stone in 1999. At least 2 million of the nearly 5 million copies of No Way Out were sold due to his death, straight up. And that doesn't necessarily feel good, but that's the reality. You're lying. You know it sound, he knows what he should say. He knows what it's supposed to sound like, but that doesn't mean it's true. That's another pattern that I'm clocking. Like, it doesn't necessarily feel good, but that's the reality. No, it does feel good. You're lying. Even Death Row's fearsome boss, who's currently serving a 28-year manslaughter sentence, has been labeled a boogeyman of hip hop, said Combs' behavior was distasteful. And I quote, Suge said, when Pac left, I didn't pick up a microphone, Knight said on his prison podcast. I picked up the pieces. And I will give him that. He did not further capitalize off Pac's death in the same manner, but you're still kind of locked in Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg had to go and beg Master P to buy him out of his contract, which tells me, Suge, you might call what he did distasteful, but you the same type of nigga because people was running from you too. Part 3. People did whatever he said to stay in his good graces. In the late 1990s, fans regularly gathered outside the Daddy's House studio in Midtown Manhattan, angling to see a famous face or pass along a mixtape. We had built this machine, the hottest hip-hop label in the world, and people started to jockey to get next to Puffy, Joyce says. As the new millennium dawned, hip-hop entered its Bling era, with Combs and his artists mining the melodies of 1980s pop songs to guarantee commercial hits. They wore matching shiny suits, spit raps about designers, socks, and yachts, draped themselves in diamonds, and filled their big budget videos with fawning women in bombastic pyrotechnics. The label was thriving off Biggie's legacy and bolstered by rising stars Mace, Shine, and Black Rob. Combs won Grammys and was nominated for his work with outside artists Mariah Carey and R. Kelly. He entered the upper echelons of New York society, partying with Revlon billionaire Ron Perlman and Donald Trump. There was a certain narcissism, an attitude of objectifying not just women, but all people, and wanting to be with other men who enjoyed moving people around like chess pieces. Charna says of Combs, adding that he was the standard bearer for hip hop as capitalism and social mobility play. Becoming a dominant force in the industry only seemed to amplify Combs' bullying behavior. In April 1999, he barged into the office of Interscope Records executive Steve Stout and allegedly turned violent. Combs was furious that Stout didn't cut him from a crucifixion scene in a Nas music video, sending it to MTV. He punched me in the face, and then he grabbed the phone and bashed me in the head with it, Stout recounted to the LA Times. Combs privately settled with Stout, reportedly for $500,000 and a Dodge 7-year prison sentence, by pleading to a reduced charge of harassment. Are y'all hearing this? Are y'all hearing the way Diddy's going around acting fucking crazy? Okay. That summer, Combs released his second album, Forever. The album's critical and commercial failure. It sold less than half of what its predecessor did, hardly diminished Combs' star power. That didn't do anything. The album didn't do well. He still was out here shining. A few months later, in December, Combs was arrested after a nightclub shooting in which 3 people were injured. His newest star, Shine, aka Jamal Michael Burrow, was convicted of firing the shots and sentenced to 10 years. Burrow was deported to Belize upon his 2009 release. Combs, meanwhile, was charged with weapons possession and attempted bribery after he and then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez fled the shooting in a Lincoln Navigator that reportedly ran 11 red lights. Combs was facing up to 15 years in prison if convicted. Kevin Rogers Francis, a host at Combs' restaurant Justin's, who did marketing work for Combs' short-lived magazine Notorious, recalls the mogul scrambling for money, shuttering the magazine, and hitting the restaurant's drawers for cash, and what Francis presumed was an effort to cover hefty legal bills. The prosecutor claimed Combs offered cash to witnesses after some said Combs was the shooter. Victim Natania Rubin has been adamant that Combs fired the bullet that tore through her nose. Combs' own driver testified that Combs offered him $50,000, using a $40,000 pinky ring as collateral if he would say he owned the unlicensed gun found in the SUV. Kind of sounds like the Meg and Tory situation, but y'all gonna keep believing that something else besides that little nigga shooting that girl happened. Okay, do what you want to do. Others have claimed Combs paid as much as $1 million to Burrow through an intermediary to buy his silence. Burrow denies the claim to Rolling Stone, calling it ridiculous misinformation. I believe it. Didn't Shine like vie to become a he's a politician right now? He's a politician. Yeah, I feel like when you become a politician, you need money. You need people to back you. I'm just saying. After a 6-week trial, Combs was acquitted in March 2001. With his mounting scandals, a tabloid relationship with Lopez, and the popularity of his Sean John clothing line, which launched in 1998, Combs entered the pop culture stratosphere. It became a point of pride to work for Bad Boy, says former employee Flash Rodriguez. It wasn't just a company, it was a lifestyle. But Combs was difficult to work for. Employees who wanted to stick around had to learn how to speak puffy, Brookshire and multiple sources say. A demanding boss. Combs often yelled to get his point across and fired employees on a whim. We saw that on Making a Band. No one on his team at Bad Boy spoke back to him. Former Daddy's House studio manager Newsom says no one challenged him. Another source recalls Mace, whose real name is Mason Betha, I think that's what it is, calling Combs Massa behind his back. Betha did not reply to a request for comment. He was so volatile, says a source who sometimes worked with Bad Boy. He's always on the edge of snapping and being scary. People did whatever he said to stay in his good graces. And Puffy exploited people's desires to be in those environments. Exploited. People aren't wrong for wanting to be famous. People aren't wrong for wanting money. People aren't wrong for wanting to accomplish their dreams and their goals. It's wrong for somebody to take advantage of those people, knowing that they don't know what's on the other side. Part 4. Why is nobody saying anything? Are they that scared of him? Why, yes. Before we get into this final part, we're going to take a little quick break. I hope y'all are enjoying the video. Like the video. We'll be right back.
Anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you said, anywhere.
All right, y'all. Part 4. After Combs' acquittal in the nightclub shooting in 2001, he reportedly headed straight to church. He later made a less God-fearing visit to the Peninsula Hotel, where he was throwing a massive bash to celebrate the verdict. It was there that Anna, a freelance graphic designer working with Bad Boy's marketing team, says Combs approached her and began to massage her shoulders. The woman requested a pseudonym, citing fear of retribution. I'm getting touched on my shoulder, my arms, my back. He's like, oh yeah, you like that? I know you like that. Like really, really gross, Anna recalls, sharing her story publicly for the first time. I was like, no, not so much. And I sort of floated my way out of there. Hold up, y'all. Y'all hearing me good? I'm still good? Okay. No, I'm actually enjoying it, y'all. This was a really good article. Okay. I'm just glad y'all, y'all fucking with me. Okay. Anna says that she avoided Combs the rest of the night. Weeks later, her boss girlfriend confided that Combs allegedly approached the boss the night of the party to solicit me for sex, Anna says. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. Going to men and asking them for permission to have sex with the woman, not asking the woman. You don't need her permission. You need the men who she's with permission. Do y'all remember when we talked about the shit with Remy Ma and Fat Joe? And Fat Joe, laughingly tells this story about how Mike Tyson was asking for Remy. This is what they do. And that's why I said that at the end of the day, you cannot act like this is merely women just prostituting themselves, because a lot of the times they're being sold behind their backs. They don't even know that they're being sold. I'm just saying, pay attention. A friend confirmed to Rolling Stone that Anna told her about both the encounter and the proposed arrangement when they began working together a few years later. The boss did not return Rolling Stone's request for an interview, and the girlfriend declined to speak. And I quote, "I felt quite unsettled about this for many years. When people ask me about my days at Bad Boy, it's just overshadowed by his crap," Anna says, adding that Combs treated her as though she existed to accommodate his whims. Combs often flaunted his sexual encounters, even if underage artists were around to see. A teenage Usher briefly lived at Combs' New York house in the early 90s as a Bad Boy protege. Puff introduced me to a totally different set of shit. Sex, specifically. Usher recalled to Rolling Stone in 2004. There was always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having an orgy. You never knew what was going to happen. Casey Sheridan, a member of the teenage girl band Dream, recalls the group being summoned for a meeting with Combs to a Beverly Hills hotel bungalow when she was 15 and awkwardly eyeing a purse and a pair of high heels by the front door as the group waited. After 20 minutes, a bathrobe Combs emerged from a nearby room. It's like you can't even keep our innocence. I'm 15 walking into this situation knowing exactly what he was doing next door, Sheridan says. And I want to tell y'all that robe shit, I'm remembering Bill Cosby doing that a lot to people, saying, let's have a business meeting. They show up to a hotel or a house and they're barely clothed. It's a way to see how you will respond. It's a way to kind of either cause that fright or flight thing so that they can see how they can then handle you. They're there to assault you when they do that. Like, that's a way of assault. That's why when Cameron was on CNN and told the reporter that he was going to clap some cheeks after the interview, I feel like that was harassment. Because you're going to make somebody feel uncomfortable by forcing whatever your sexual proclivities are on them in the moment when it is completely unnecessary. You feel me? Feeding off his fame and power, Combs appeared to be pushing his most sickening impulses even further. Model Crystal McKinney was photographed during a star-studded Sean John fashion show in February 2003. Hours later, according to her recent lawsuit, Combs said she was acting too uptight and pressured her to take a hit from a lace joint. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all don't smoke weed. Y'all ain't seen rolled. Okay? Y'all do not smoke. I'm telling y'all, unless you buy a pre-roll from an actual reputable place, please do not smoke anything that has been, unless you know people. And sometimes even then, don't be smoking shit you ain't seen nobody roll. You don't never know what they put in there. Okay? She alleged he then forced her to perform oral sex on him, despite her resistance. The night sent McKinney into a tailspin of anxiety and depression that she says resulted in a suicide attempt. I had a whole future in modeling mapped out that was stolen from me. Being sexually assaulted and having no recourse is so painful, McKinney tells Rolling Stone. I felt like I was dying every day because I did not yet have the strength to come forward. I hope that by speaking out, I can help other survivors come forward and seek justice. And it's not even just about money. It's about saying that shit to the world and getting it off your chest. I don't care what y'all talking about. Not long after, between the spring and fall of 2003, a 17-year-old was out one night with friends at a Detroit area lounge when a man in a suit approached and allegedly introduced himself as Combs' best friend. The man purportedly called Combs and let the girl speak directly with the famed producer, who was twice her age. And y'all, this is when I was wondering if this is Tierra Marie. I don't know if it is or not, but I've heard that. Either way, the man, alleged to be a former bad boy president, Harv Pierre, convinced the girl to board a private jet and take the 2-hour flight to Teterboro, New Jersey, just outside New York City. Y'all, this is trafficking. You getting an underage girl to travel across state lines to have sex with a grown-ass man. That's where the RICO racketeering, sex trafficking, that's where that's going to come in. Okay, I'm just saying, as soon as you start soliciting sex over state lines in such a manner, okay, just outside New York City to meet Combs in person. According to a lawsuit filed last December by the girl, now an adult Jane Doe plaintiff. Then a high school junior, she was awestruck by the opportunity, documenting the trip with photos from inside Daddy's house, where she seen pretending to record a song, pointing at Combs' initials on the wall and sitting on Combs' lap. The photos were included in the lawsuit to corroborate the woman's allegations that she was gang-ard that night by Pierre, Combs, and a third unidentified man inside the recording studio. The woman claims the men plied her with drugs and alcohol until she was nearly unconscious and unable to consent. As she started to black out, she claims, Combs led her to a bathroom where he removed her skirt and underwear and penetrated her from behind. As she drifted in and out, the unnamed assailant replaced Combs and arred her from behind as Combs watched, she says. The woman alleges Pierre replaced the second man and arred her too. When the men finished, she fell into a fetal position on the floor in excruciating pain and was later escorted out of the building and flown back to Michigan, she claims. Combs' lawyer filed a motion to dismiss, calling Doe's account a decades-old tale, a baseless claim, and an effort to extract an undeserved financial recovery. Undeserved financial recovery? Do you know how disrespectful, flagrant, and disgusting it is for you to do something like that to somebody? And when they try to sue you, you have your lawyers actually put it into language that they wanted undeserved financial, undeserved, my nigga. Girl, Pierre did not reply to a request for comment, but previously called the accusations fiction and a desperate attempt for financial gain. Drugs were a consistent part of Combs' life, Ventura alleges in her lawsuit, claiming he was addicted to prescription painkillers and took ecstasy frequently. She claims he had pills and other drugs out in the open like candy, and that he would supply alcohol, ecstasy, cocaine, the sedative GHB, ketamine, and marijuana during freak-offs. But far from enhancing a party vibe, Ventura and others say these substances only darkened his mood. Once Combs got drunk or high enough, says one frequent party guest in the early 2000s, he would turn violent and loud. He would take his anger out on people. At several points when Combs was extremely intoxicated, Ventura alleges he beat her. An industry source says they once left the party at Combs' home because they felt so uncomfortable watching an aggressive Combs yell at Ventura throughout the night. You can tell in her eyes that she's scared, they said. I'm like, is this normal? Am I tripping right now? Why is nobody saying anything? Are they that scared of him? Yes. In a 2015 appearance on the Breakfast Club radio show, Combs described the deal he offers his girlfriends. And I quote, if I'm in a relationship with you, 25% of your time, you're going to just feel like, oh man, I hate being here. This guy cheated on me. He lied on me. Now, why would you lie on a woman that you're dating, that you're in a relationship with, unless you abused her? And when she says you abused her, you say she lied. He lied on me, Combs explained, while sitting next to his teenage son. And that's why I believe what they said about Christian, because you are teaching your son how to be like this. There's no other way for me to compute it. Then Christian has been learning this shit from his daddy. But then there's 75% of, I'm going to make you the happiest woman in the world, in the whole wide world. I'm going to be there to support your dreams. I'm going to be there to hold you, listen to you. I'm going to be there to be your best friend. And I promise you'll smile the most. You know who I am. This is what it is. Which deal would you choose? And this is the mentality that a lot of y'all have, that because these men are financially providing some affluent lifestyle, that the abuse should be okay. That basically the men are paying to be able to abuse these women. And so what has happened over time is when women decide they're not doing this shit anymore and they don't want your money, they'll get their money their own way, all of that shit. Then y'all tell them y'all don't care about their jobs. You don't care about their money. You don't care about how they can take care of themselves so that they don't fall victim to these types of situations, because a lot of y'all want women to be pigeonholed into a corner. A lot of y'all want women to let you control everything so that you can do whatever you want to do to them, and they can't really leave without having to think about that 75%, which is really just money, because you can't abuse somebody like that and then think they're going to be happy most of the time. That's not a happy person make. That's not how that works. That was some pimp game he was given just then, where I try to explain to you how your abuse is advantageous to you. That's how pimps talk. You know what I'm saying? I want to be your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your cousin, baby. I want to be everything to you, baby. But you got to believe in me. That shit. Fuck out of here. There was one term of the deal Combs never disclosed, sources say. The women who signed up for it were not allowed to walk away. Damian Vasquez, a former Bad Boy intern, says after Combs and Lopez broke up, Combs had staffers camp outside MTV's TRL studios with signs to win her back. Ventura claimed that every time she hid, Combs' network of operatives found her and employed her to return, including a Bad Boy executive who threatened to withhold the release of her music if she didn't return Combs' calls. She was supposed to get out though, right? She was supposed to get out and run off, right? She was supposed to be able to get out. But you got this man having people pressuring you to go back to him. This is no different than the R. Kelly situation and R. Kelly getting people to get girls from all over the country and flying them out to the house so he can lock them into a room until he's ready to do some obscene, fucked up shit to him. After Ventura left Combs, he tried to paint a picture of a heartbroken, hurt man. That's how he gets all of y'all to feel sorry for him. All of y'all, oh, I feel sorry for him. Y'all always feel sorry for monsters. It never makes any sense to me. It never makes, like, y'all really out here feeling sorry for the devil? Yeah, okay. A source who knew the couple throughout their relationship says when the reality was he's a liar and abuser. Burroughs believes Combs' losses at a young age, especially the murder of his father, took a toll on his relationships. He is fortified now with the money and the power, but abandonment and the act of leaving can bring about vicious results, he says, and the women catch it the worst. Combs' long-term partner, Kim Porter, who died of lobar pneumonia in 2018, was no exception. Their relationship was tumultuous. According to sources who claimed Combs physically abused her, and I quote, "I remember Kim used to go through a lot of stuff," former Bad Boy rapper Mark Curry says. If you live around them, you get to see the toxic relationship. I think every relationship he had that I experienced around him was like that. And that's because men who beat on women beat on women. So please don't think Carisha wasn't over there getting her ass whipped. That's why y'all was seeing them tweets ever so often, her talking about how depressed she was. And the next thing you know, she's going shopping. Yeah. Combs and Porter first got together in 1994 and dated on and off until 2007. She ended it for good upon learning Combs had fathered a secret child while she was pregnant with their twin daughters. There were other infidelities, including Combs' affair with Lopez. Nigga publicly cheating on you. But Combs never let Porter truly move on, she told Essence. He still called 50 to 60 times a day. Y'all, that's not good. I know there are so many of you toxic bitches out there that think it's good when a man is calling you this much. It's not. She said it was like my life was not my own. He was very, very intrusive. In 2000, Porter's fledgling courtship with late music executive Shakir Stewart enraged Combs. When the industry gathered for L.A. Reid's wedding in Italy that summer, Combs went to Stewart's room after the ceremony and allegedly broke a chair over Stewart's head. Stewart's mother and two of his close friends tell Rolling Stone. He left him bleeding on a hotel floor in Italy, Stewart's mother, Portia, says. He had to have stitches. And then Combs threatened him. I'm going to kill you. That's when I said, you need to get out this business. This man is crazy. Yeah, baby reindeer. Exactly. That's exactly how he got Cassie and a lot of them. Oh, I'm believing in your dreams. I'm supporting your dreams. But, let's do drugs so we can have a good time and open up your mind and all of this shit. And please believe, when it happened on Baby Reindeer, that man was agreeing to do those drugs, right? But with Cassie and a lot of these women, they weren't agreeing. They were being drugged. Like it was being put in their drinks when they weren't paying attention. Part 5. I've noticed him kill a lot of people's spirits. By the mid-2000s, Bad Boy had hemorrhaged several top acts, including Faith Evans, Total, 112, Craig Mack, and Foxy Brown. 2 decades later, nearly all of Combs' artists have left him. Apart from himself, stepson Quincy Brown, and son Christian, only Janelle Monáe is left on the label. Y'all, this makes me think about when Janelle Monáe did an interview recently and she talked about her decision to change her image from the suits to being more, sexually liberated in the way she expressed herself. Girl, which I love this version of you. Ugh, girl, float. Okay. But it reminds me of her talking about how somebody came at her real fucked up about it. Tried to shame her because she was changing her image. And I low-key wonder if it was him that said something to her about her changing her image and going from just wearing suits to now wearing dresses and revealing clothing and showing off how beautiful her body is. My God. A rep for Monáe did not reply to a request for comment. Machine Gun Kelly's last track released with Bad Boy was in February 2024. He started his own label, established 19XX under Interscope. Rolling Stone reached out to dozens of artists who've been signed to Bad Boy to ask about their experiences with the label. Many declined, with one saying, I don't have anything nice to say when it comes to my time with Bad Boy. It was not a good experience and one I really don't want to relive. Those who did speak to Rolling Stone say they felt their time with the label was squandered through lack of direction. Several spent years at Bad Boy without releasing any music. Curry, who was affiliated with Bad Boy from 97 to 2006, has been one of the most outspoken detractors, writing about his dealings with Combs in his 2009 book, Dancing with the Devil, How Puff Burned the Bad Boys of Hip Hop. He says Combs repeatedly promised to produce his solo album, but never gave him a budget. There's different ways you can kill a person, Curry tells Rolling Stone. I've noticed him kill a lot of people's spirits. And this is how you kill people's spirits. You offer them a dream that you can absolutely give them. And you use it as like a breadcrumb to keep them and keep the disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Because if people feel like you're going to help them realize their dreams, they'll literally allow you to mistreat them in order to realize the dream until they realize that you're not actually helping them. You're not. And then they get mad because you're mistreating them and then you're not helping them. And then what do you do? You have them in a full contract where they can't go and do the music anywhere else. They can't go and experience their talent and put their music out anywhere else. Y'all, do you know how that will kill somebody's spirit? To not be able to put your music out, to create something, to want to create something, to have this man who is so huge and has all the power in the world to make this happen for you. And he tells you he will, but doesn't. And he keeps stringing you along. Y'all, I need for y'all to understand how fucked up that is to do to people. I think people really kind of glaze over these types of things. But to me, that's what created the collective of energy around him after making a band, was realizing all of the artists were gone and mistreated. We saw how he did the band on reality TV. So to me, that equal to him being an ain't shit fucked up ass person even back then, because of the way he treated all of his artists. It only bolstered his prestige, his iconic status. Yeah, there are some of them that were able to still be great, Lil' Kim, Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans, but there's a whole bunch of people that really had to scratch and survive good times in order to continue to make music, to continue to tour. And some people never got to do it again. Not everyone felt the same. Singer-songwriter Kalina Harper says one of the highs of her life was joining Combs' Diddy Dirty Money group in 2009. She was later invited to work with Combs on the Love album. He was fucking cool as shit, she says, adding that artists who blame Combs for the trajectory of their careers may suffer from disgruntled employee syndrome. Kalina, I would just like to say on behalf of all of these people who you feel like are just disgruntled employees, girl, fuck you. Fuck you. Because at the end of the day, if you were doing that well from working with Diddy Dirty Money, you wouldn't have had to get your ass on Love and Hip Hop. Girl, how about you not say anything? Because you can't convince me he didn't dog your ass out, because we know he dogged Dawn ass out. Did you get any money from writing and producing that music that he made it seem as if he did it? Kalina, he completely used you and discarded you and then called you back. And because he called you back for the Love album, you feel like you owe him something. Ma'am, can you imagine if you had done your music on your own for real, instead of trusting your career to someone who was only using you? And Kalina is a freak, which makes me wonder, Kalina, what tapes are you in? Kalina, what tapes are you in? And as much as I love Dawn, because Dawn is a fellow New Orleans girl, okay? But I feel like the way Dawn has changed her image over the years, changed her face over the years, is indicative of something that happened then. Like somebody telling you ugly, or telling you something's wrong with your nose, something's wrong with your face. So you go and get surgery so that you can look like the version of yourself that might be treated better by a nigga like him. Yeah, she was the one doing threesomes on Love and Hip Hop. Yes. Again, Kalina, what tapes are you on, bitch? She made me mad. Years ago, continuing, there were whispers that some bad boy A&R executives would accept sexual favors from female artists in exchange for professional attention. Yeah, we know. That's how it's always been. I would hear it's the same thing as a casting couch. It's all the same. You want this part, you want this record deal, you want this attention, you want me to help you? Okay, well, fuck me, fuck my homeboy. You know what I mean? All of that. I would hear about female artists being asked to do stuff with some of the other male executives, recalls one former bad boy staffer. Like, we can make or break your career. What are you going to do about it? Going to HR was useless. If you want your job, you're not going there to complain, they add. And that's another thing, everybody. Everybody that works at your regular ass jobs that is mistreated and y'all just let it happen because you don't want to ruffle any feathers because you need this money so that you can pay your bills and take care of yourself and your family. It's no different than those artists just shutting up and allowing the mistreatment to take place because they care so much about getting this money and having their career. And I can't fault them for that. But I just want y'all to recognize that when everybody wants to make all of these very judgmental statements about what people in the entertainment industry were willing to do, you know, y'all be willing to let a lot of disrespect and fucked up shit slide on these regular ass jobs where you not even get paid as much. Stop judging them people like, oh, I could never. Yeah, okay. I'm just saying. On the Call Her Daddy podcast in 2022, Danity Kane's Aubrey O'Day said she was kicked out of the group because she wasn't willing to do certain things, not talent-wise, but in other areas. She refused to get specific, saying the truth was what you can imagine. There was no me too, she added. You signed 1 million NDAs and 1 million contracts that took away your rights. Asked by Rolling Stone to elaborate, O'Day says, the answer to what happens if you don't do what the executives want, I'm the full-blown fucking story of that. You know, Aubrey, I don't know why you continue to put yourself out there as somebody that has firsthand experience of Diddy and all of the mistreatment, but you refuse to get into specifics. I don't know what that's about. Because at this point, you didn't sign an NDA. And also, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can he do to you at this point? What can he do to you at this point? I'm just curious. Anyway, some who left Combs worried he might try to expel them from the industry altogether. Brooklyn rapper Lanice Babs Bunny Wiley of Combs' MTV reality show Making a Band says she was blackballed after leaving the label. Give it up for the ladies. Listen, shout out to Babs, man, for Queen of the Ring. Bun, the photographer, claims her gigs instantly dried up after winning a lawsuit against Combs in 2000 for withholding a set of Biggie photos from her. She claims a friend at the Fader magazine told her that Combs personally called the office and said if they work with Bun, Bad Boy will pull its advertising from the magazine. Do y'all see? Do you see how fucked up that is for somebody to steal from you? And then when you sue their ass for what they stole from you, they have the audacity to call around and stop you from making your fucking money. Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? That's crazy, y'all. Talk show host Wendy Williams wrote in her 2004 book that Combs spent a lot of money and used a lot of his influence to try to crush me after she posted an alleged sexual photo of Combs and another man on her website. Combs denied it was him in the photo, and music producer Easy Mo B claimed in February that after he challenged Combs over a credit Combs had given himself on the producer's song, he noticed certain people wouldn't deal with me. He's someone you don't want to make an enemy out of, says one former employee of Combs. When people do go against him, that person gets ostracized. And to me, I feel like y'all should be ostracizing people like him. For some, the effects of being shunned by Combs were profound. Francesca Spiro joined Bad Boy Entertainment in 1998, rising through the company to become Combs' right-hand woman. But Spiro alleged in an age and disability discrimination lawsuit that Combs illegally fired her in 2010. She claimed Combs froze her out after she took time to recover from a hip surgery and voluntarily checked into rehab to treat a lapse in her sobriety. Spiro tried to continue working in the music industry, but opportunities would disappear. A family member says, the alleged blacklisting led to significant health issues, which brought her to her end, the relative says. She was devastated by the way she was treated. She felt betrayed. She died in 2014. As ex-Bad Boy President Burroughs puts it, Combs never forgets a grudge. If he sees a snag in a sweater, he'll pull it. Y'all ready? Part 6. Life ain't always what it seemed to be. For Combs' 50th birthday in 2019, revelers gathered at his 17,000 square foot Homely Hills home in black tie attire and beaded gowns, sipping champagne and ice cold Ciroc, the vodka brand Combs shilled for a share of profits. They admired the breathtaking Kerry James Marshall painting that Combs had recently purchased for $21 million. Guests Beyonce and Jay-Z rubbed shoulders with Dr. Dre, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kobe Bryant, Cardi B, Snoop Dogg, Kim Kardashian, Usher, and Post Malone. It was a crowning moment for Combs, a testament to the multifaceted success he had worked so hard to achieve. Combs had conquered fashion, winning Menswear Designer of the Year at the prestigious Council of Fashion Designers of America Awards in 2004, acted on Broadway, become the co-owner of the Leon Tequila, founded the Revolt TV cable network, purchased the sports beverage company Aqua Hydrate with Mark Wahlberg, and filmed a cameo in Disney's 2014 movie Muppets Most Wanted. He even legally changed his middle name to Love, with his hard edges seemingly polished away by his gilded life. Combs appeared untouchable. It was all the perfect cover for his alleged physical and sexual abuse of Ventura. Ventura says in her lawsuit that there were multiple witnesses to her alleged mistreatment, but they were too afraid to cross Combs. She claims both Combs' head of security and his assistant began to cry when they saw the extent of her injuries. In an open letter published by Rolling Stone, Ventura's friend Tiffany Red wrote that she was present the night Ventura said she was forced to leave her 2015 surprise birthday party for another freak-off with Holmes. Red recalls seeing Ventura backed up against a wall with Combs cursing her out. And I remember her talking about that security was around them, so nobody could get in and do anything to help her. She said Ventura returned later that night, apparently sedated, while Combs screamed at Red, "Tell your girl she wants some birthday dick. I flew all the way from Miami. She gonna get this birthday dick." Red wrote that she told a visibly angry Combs to leave Ventura alone. She recalled Combs ignoring her and driving off with Ventura in a golf cart. Combs' physical abuse extended to Ventura's inner circle as well, according to her lawsuit. She claims one of her friends obtained a settlement after a physical altercation with Combs in 2018. After Ventura's birthday party in 2015, a severely intoxicated Combs allegedly dangled another of Ventura's friends over a 17th floor balcony. Neither friend responded to a request for comment from Rolling Stone. One source who worked with Combs and Ventura says people fail to speak up because Combs doesn't believe in being told no. And if you get caught up in the wrath of that, it can be very dangerous. In her lawsuit, Ventura says she finally found the strength to leave for good when Combs allegedly forced his way into her apartment and AR'd her in September 2018, the night she met him for dinner to discuss breaking up. She claims Combs pulled off her clothing and assaulted her as she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. A month later, people reported the relationship was over, citing a source who said Ventura was moving on with renewed focus on her career. I'm wondering how she got him to leave her alone that time. Though Ventura's alleged hell at the hands of Combs was largely unknown until she filed her complaint, overlapping public claims about Combs' behavior made minor headlines during their decade together. In 2017, Combs was sued for sexual harassment by personal chef Cindy Ruda in a lawsuit that seemed bizarre at the time, but has gained renewed scrutiny. Ruda claimed that when she worked for Combs in 2015 and part of 2016, he regularly had her serve dishes while he and his guests were engaged in sexual activity. Ruda claimed Combs once asked her to prepare a post-coital meal, then greeted her fully naked and asked if she liked his naked body. One incident in August 2015 allegedly involved Combs ordering Ruda to serve him breakfast in his room and then partaking in sexual activity with model Gina Hun. Yeah, I think you pronounce it Hun. As Ruda dropped the food on a table and fled. The lawsuit was forced into arbitration and ended privately. A lawyer for Ruda did not reply to a request for comment. That means he settled. Hun, meanwhile, reemerged in 2019 with claims that Combs beat her. In an interview with gossip blogger Tasha K, Hun said she started dating Combs in 2014 and that he offered her $50,000 to terminate a pregnancy that year. Hun also said Combs shoved her to the ground, dragged her by her hair in 2018, and in jealous rage stomped on her stomach. The allegations barely made a ripple, and Hun went silent after the interview. She also declined to comment. The Detroit area Jane Doe, who sued Combs and Pierre in December, tells Rolling Stone she hopes her lawsuit will hold not just Combs, but also all of those who acted with him, stood silent, and actively covered up his behavior accountable. In her lawsuit, she said her nightmare was not an isolated incident and pointed to another Jane Doe who sued Pierre on November 21st. That woman alleges Pierre groomed and sexually assaulted her when she was his assistant between 2016 and 2017. Then, in early February, Jones, the Love album producer, sued. The 73-page complaint filed by lawyer Tyrone Blackburn, which included unusual elements such as photos of the defendants and redacted names that could easily be deciphered, claimed that Jones worked, traveled, and often lived with Combs while producing 9 songs for the project. Jones described his experience as a hedonistic hellscape. He claimed to have hundreds of hours of footage and audio capturing Combs, his staff, and his guests engaged in serious illegal activity, including the use of distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, ketamine, marijuana candy, mushrooms, GHB, and Tucci, a pink powder described as a mixture of ecstasy and cocaine. He claimed that at one party in July 2023, Combs fed him ecstasy-laced liquor until he blacked out and woke up naked next to a sex worker. Y'all, that's last year, July, okay? Jones says Combs terrorized him with constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus, and that Combs kept him compliant by displaying weapons, threatening to eat his face, and according to the suit, informing Jones that he was willing to kill his own mother if he must to get what he wanted. Did y'all hear what I just said? Not only did he threaten to eat this man's face, but he also said that he would kill his own mama. Diddy would kill his own mama just to get what he wanted. Combs' lawyer called the complaint pure fiction. That's all y'all say, right? How many times has he been accused of something throughout this article, and every time it's a lie? It's all fabrications. It's fictitious. Bullshit. And I quote, he is this monster. Nothing has changed, Jones told Rolling Stone shortly before filing his lawsuit. This guy got no soul. He has no duty to anyone, not even his kids. Y'all, I believe it. I'm worried about the twins. Just saying. I'm worried about the little girl. I'm worried about all the kids over there, y'all. Combs' associates, meanwhile, have faced allegations of their own. 25-year-old Brendan Paul, who Jones described in his lawsuit as Combs' drug mule, was arrested and charged with cocaine possession during the raid on Combs' properties. Paul pleaded not guilty, but later accepted a deal in May, agreeing to complete a drug diversion program, after which his case will be dismissed. The deal was offered because Paul is considered a first-time offender and the substance amount allegedly found was not of trafficking level, a spokesperson for Miami-Dade State's Attorney's Office said. In early April, yacht steward Grace O'Marquet sued Combs and his 26-year-old son Christian, alleging that Christian drugged and attacked her on board a luxury vessel rented for a 2022 vacation in St. Martin. While filming a since scrapped family reality show for Hulu, I remember that. According to NBC News, O'Marquet can be heard in an audio recording asking Christian to stop touching her legs. She claims Christian later tried to force her to perform oral sex, allegations he denies through his father's lawyer. Christian Combs' lawyer, Aaron Dyer, did not reply to a request for comment on the allegations, but previously claimed O'Marquet's complaint was rife with manufactured lies and irrelevant facts. Irrelevant facts? The fuck is you talking about? Part 7. Is this the end? On May 4th, Combs posted a video of himself standing by an ocean, staring down a tropical monsoon with his arms outstretched as the recorded voice of his spiritual advisor, T.D. Jakes, booms. Not hysterical, not frantic, not anxious, not fretful, but steady in the storm and in the swallows, apparently. While Combs gathers support where he can, the new allegations have reshaped his world. After stepping down from Revolt, he reportedly sold his shares in March. The Harlem charter school he co-founded reportedly cut ties and scrubbed his name from its website. In April, premium liquor giant Diageo revealed it paid approximately $200 million to buy the outstanding 50% share of their De Leon tequila brand from Combs, fully dissolving their partnership. Like, nigga, please leave us the fuck alone. In a 2023 court filing, Diageo said that Combs had amassed nearly $1 billion from their 15-year relationship, and the wave of lawsuits reignited industry beef with Combs' longtime rival, 50 Cent, who is making a documentary about his downfall. Y'all, I can't wait to see it. I heard that he sold it to Netflix, so I can't wait to see it. Combs is preparing for a fight for his reputation, his legacy, and in some sense, his life. Who did that remind you of? I'm fighting for my life out here. R. Kelly, anybody? Aha. Federal officials declined to say much after the March raids, but a source confirmed to Rolling Stone that investigations in the Southern District of New York interviewed potential witnesses as part of a sex trafficking and racketeering probe. Agents may also examine Combs' alleged ties to the infamous Black Mafia family cartel after the Detroit Jane Doe alleged in her suit that the group is rumored to have seeded Bad Boy. No criminal charges have been announced as of this publication. Sex trafficking is certainly a potential component of a pattern of racketeering, or it could be charged on its own. Former federal prosecutor Elizabeth Geddes, a member of the team that successfully prosecuted R. Kelly in New York, tells Rolling Stone this indictment of R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein, the indictments of R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell, high-profile individuals who long evaded real accountability by law enforcement, offer prosecutors a playbook for a possible prosecution of Sean Combs. Combs is known to sport a gold medallion depicting Lazarus, the biblical figure raised from the dead. And why not? He survived the deadly CCNY tragedy, the shooting that killed his top artist, and his Club New York criminal trial, and prospered. He named an album No Way Out, but he's always managed to find one. This time may be different. As more accusers and associates emerge with hellish accounts of their time with Combs, as more voices hint that there are darker stories still to be uncovered, he stands exposed in a much harsher light. To some, his claim that his brutal 2016 attack on Cassie represented a rock bottom from which he has since recovered doesn't ring true. One source who knew the former couple says the mogul's rage was always on the verge of creeping out. Rock bottom must be his personality, they say. I've never not seen this person. Misa Hilton, the mother of Combs' first son, Justin, has been silent in the wake of Ventura's lawsuit. But after the video broke, she responded by saying, I know exactly how she feels. And through my empathy, it has triggered my own trauma. She declined to comment, but y'all know how she came up after and said he needs help. Yeah, but it ain't no help that we gonna give him. It's a long overdue reckoning, says Anna, whose encounter with Combs at the Peninsula Hotel still haunts her. People have been sitting with their experiences for years because you don't know what to do with it. Garner's friend wrote in her recent affidavit that she wishes she had spoken up then, raised hell earlier. She watched her friend grapple with the aftermath. This experience completely changed Liza as a person, she wrote. Dickerson Neal, too, says she was forever changed by a single night. One date with Sean Combs led to the trauma and pain of sexual assault and an ocean's depth of shame, she tells Rolling Stone. Learning that Combs allegedly distributed an explicit video of her was devastating, and she suffered debilitating self-doubt and a lifetime of inner turmoil. Those who were watching decades ago have long suspected Combs' legacy would end in disgrace. None of this was really a surprise for me, says one of the Howard alums who had knowledge of Combs' attack on a classmate. You're already an abuser in college. You were already feeling you had to have a certain amount of power over people. Another says Combs must now face accountability. It's time. In an Instagram post in late May, Ventura expressed gratitude for all the love and support she received. With a lot of hard work, I am better today, she wrote. But she added, echoing the experience of many of Combs' accusers, I will always be recovering from my past. And that is the conclusion of the article. Okay, read some of y'all super chats. All right. Let's see. Thank you, Lodi T, Yoli T, Loli, yeah. Yoli C. Look, I did my best reading. Now I can't even read the goddamn super chat. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate you. I think I read Lady T's already. Thank you. Kayla Johnson, Bonnie, you look so pretty. Thank you. I appreciate you. Sweet Cherry, thank you. Okay, get a euro. Thank you. Keisha L, thank you for the super chat. Yes, this is live. And thank you for the belated birthday wishes. Mrs. Erica B, thank you for being a member for 5 months. I love you back. Lucky Charms, thank you for the super chat. This dude was the original Can I Get a Hug Negro. Absolutely. Hey, Miko, thank you for being a member for 10 months. I'm in here cleaning my house, burning sage, and listening to you in my AirPods. Like this is a true crime documentary. Randomly saying, exactly, Bondi. I know that's right, girl. You better listen. That's what I wanted for us today, right? Like, just get into it. According to Alex, thank you for the super chat, boo. I just recently read Faith Evans' book. She did not want to do I'll Be Missing You. She wasn't ready. It was too soon, but Diddy pressured her to still do it. I figured that. Thank you. I'm gonna have to go read her book. Brooklyn Rose, thank you for the super chat. Favorite reading commentary on articles so far. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I know everybody was doing it, so I didn't really know if I should, but honestly, I wanted to read it out loud to y'all. So I was like, fuck it, we just gonna get into it. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate y'all. I want someone to interview Kim Fields' friends. They must know something. Why? Why you say that about Kim Fields? No, it's a great article. I'm glad you said that because I want to cite my sources. Y'all know this is Rolling Stone, but this was written. Hold up, let me find because I wanna, have the person's name. Cheyenne Roundtree and Nancy Dillon. Okay, shout out to Cheyenne Roundtree. Child, don't be related to Richard Roundtree. Probably not. Anyway, thank you, Cheyenne Roundtree, Nancy Dillon, for putting this article together. This was excellent. Excellent work. I don't think I've read anything, so good in order to explain the energy, to explain the timing, the pattern that has been happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you for this article, for clocking it and putting it together the way you did. Great article. Thank you everybody that came through. All right. It's a 2-hour live. So I'm about to get off of here so I can go to the gym and go get my food. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. I've been talking for too long. Plus, I had an energy supplement, girl. I'm wired. Oh, Nicole Thespiana, thank you for the super chat. Happy birthday. Been a fan since True Blood reviews. Oh, child. That was back in the day. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank y'all for coming through today. I will definitely probably be giving y'all the members only live tomorrow. So don't forget to come, you a member, be looking. I'll let y'all know for sure. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Rose Bondi. There is no Ooh Ladies First panel this week. We will be back next week. And I believe we will be back on my channel. Okay. So I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I hope y'all having a good week. And I will see y'all tomorrow. I'm sure of it. Okay. Let me hit it and y'all be cool.